Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, was released 21 years ago, way back in 2004, and to this day it happens to be one of my favourite games of all time, and I have completed it a lot of times. In fact, I seem to go back to this game every couple of years just to dive back in and just experience what this game had to offer. Now, you have to remember way back in 2004, the gaming industry was really still getting off the ground, although it was, what it was, and there were some absolute masterpieces back then. It wasn't what it is today. Despite that, Knights of the Old Republic 2 happens to be one of the best games of all time. Let me know down in the comments if you think I'm wrong, but the player choice that is in this game is kind of crazy. Hello and welcome to the Critical Curious. I'm Uncan today. Yes, we are going to be reviewing Knights of the Old Republic 2. Now, as I said previously, yes, this is one of my favourite games of all time, but I am going to tell you exactly why it is and why I would recommend you download and play it now. I think 2025 has actually been a great year for gaming. There's been some really cool games that's come out, but amongst those really cool games have been an awful lot of remasters. Now, Knights of the Old Republic is a game franchise that I would love to see get a reboot, get a remaster, get whatever it is. Just give me another installment, please. Now, many of you might know that there is actually, or was, a Knights of the Old Republic 3 planned. In fact, they even began production on it, but for whatever reason, it fell through, and it's still currently on the back burner. What will happen to that in the future, we really don't know just yet. But what I can tell you is that in the meantime, you can pick up this on pretty much any platform you own. I believe you can even pick this up on your phone, both Android and Apple, or even your tablets. And typically it will cost you around £10. Remember, this game has been out for 21 years now, so you can pick it up rather cheap. Now, the developers of this game are actually Aspire and Obsidian. It has some real heritage within the gaming community, and this happens to be one of their finest games that they've ever made. Now, the typical idea is that you are a fallen Jedi, or you're a fallen Force user. You're not really sure what's going on, to be fair. You're trying to, repiece your memory and trying to make your way in this galaxy. Now, this was one of the first games that kind of offered a type of open world. Essentially, you were on a planet or a space station, and you could pretty much make your way around it as you see fit, acquiring missions and submissions and all that kind of thing, interacting with a lot of different NPCs in almost any way you wanted. As you can imagine, this is a Jedi Star Wars related game, therefore you could choose to be good or bad. Yes, this was back then when Star Wars games was actually good. And when I say you could choose to be good or bad, seriously, the story is wide open. You could make 100 bad choices and still end up with a relatively good ending, or vice versa. Now, FYI, I have played this game many, many times, and not once have I ever had a good ending. I just can't bring myself to do so. The amount of bad options in this game is staggering. And personally, I like to have a lot of money and a lot of things within my games, and therefore being bad enables me to get an awful lot of good things. And the story within Knights of the Old Republic is actually one of the best stories I think I can remember in video games. It really is a story of good and evil, and I think it's still talked about today, which, 21-year-old game, that's pretty impressive. Not to mention, this was one of the original Xbox releases, which is kind of staggering if you go back, just how many good ones PlayStation has had compared to Xbox. Now, one of the things that I like so much about this game is the companions that you're able to recruit that are able to pop onto the Ebon Hawk, which happens to be your very own starship, which you're going to be taking from planet to planet. Now, your companions end up living with you on this ship, and they end up going on these quests with you. You can build relationships with them as well, turning sometimes then from good to evil, from evil to good, and you're able to do so in quite a satisfying way. Unlike the first one, within the second one, you're actually able to turn your companions into Sith or Jedi, or air quotes dark force users, which I think is just really cool. Plus, if you're into the Star Wars universe, you're able to get some pretty obscure lore, especially about the Sith, and we all want to know more about the Sith because they're such a cool cult within that universe. Another thing I quite like is how your choices do have consequences. We've mentioned that before, but depending on how you interact with certain people, depends on the light side or dark side points that you'll get, which will essentially shape your character. Now, while we've mentioned, this game having choices, this game having different outcomes, this is one of those very few games where you will have physical differences with your character as you play through the game as well. So if you was good, you would look holier than now. If you are bad, all the color essentially drains from you, your eyes turn, veins start popping up on your head. Like, you look like you are a Sith, a genuine Sith, and your appearance will change as you go through the game. Not only that, but your companions and those around you will constantly comment on it as well, especially if you haven't managed to turn them over to your way of thinking. Now, it's little touches like that that just elevate this game so much. When it comes to combat, admittedly, the combat style can put a lot of people off, but once you get used to it, it's quite versatile. There's an awful lot you can do within the combat of this game. And as you play, you will level up and you will earn yourself more and more goodies. Not only do you level up your own character, but you can also level up your companions as well. When you do level up, you have a variety of different skills you can get, you have a variety of different moves you can unlock, abilities that you can unlock, and these are all dependent sometimes on whether you are good or bad as well. So I really do think that when it comes to uniqueness, every single playthrough could be very, very different. Now, some of these abilities are better than others, some of them you're always going to want to try and double down on, but depending on your play style, you can build your characters very, very interestingly. It works as a really good RPG. As you go through, you're going to be very familiar with a lot of the different mechanics within this game. You can pick lock lots of different things, whether that be loot boxes or doors. You can disarm traps. So there's lots of different skills for you to get your characters into and to set up the right party combination as well. And you're really going to have to use all of your party members, because several times throughout this game you're going to have to split into two distinct teams in which you're going to have to use every single character that you've managed to recruit, if of course you have managed to recruit two full teams. Within number 2, we also managed to get a returning character, a couple of returning characters actually, and it's really welcome to see them back in it as well, because I think the first game was a very, very good game, but there was a few things that they could have improved upon, and in number 2 they did definitely double down on that and improved on those few aspects, including being able to turn your companions into Force users. That brings us to the story, to the cutscenes, to the voice acting. This game is fully voice acted. Personally, I think it does a really good job. I love the Star Wars universe. I was really glad to see the amount of cutscenes that was in this game. And it really just helps you expand on the story, helps you get proper immersed, and helps you just really get into what this game has to offer. Now, graphically, it may not be the best. Yes, it's absolutely dated. This is 21 years old, but to me, it's still very, very serviceable.
It has been some time.
You were a fool to return. I spared you once. I will not do so again. Why have you returned?
Because now I understand why the exile did what he did. There is much to be done.
Ignore Darth Trash, she is always full of riddles. At the end of the day, this is a very, very good game. It's a very old game, and it's one that I wish that developers today would take lessons out of. I think that just the sheer amount of side quests within this game for a game this old just shows you how much detail and attention went into it. This is easily a game that you could sink 50 hours into, and don't forget this is very, very repeatable as well, because maybe you got the dark ending this time, but you're going to want to jump in and try and get that light ending as well, or of course complete some of the missions that you've done slightly different. All of them seem to be very unique and have different rewards too. And of course, if you have played the first game going into the second game, they are very different despite revisiting a couple of the same worlds. Now, I could very easily give this game a 10 out of 10 just as a pure fanboy, but I'm not going to do that because I don't think that any game truly deserves a 10 rating. No game is ever perfect. This game certainly has its issues. It certainly has a lack, well, a lot of jank sometimes, a lot of UI issues, and of course a lot of loading screens. But at the same time, for me, this is one of the greatest games ever made, and I pray that we will one day get a third installment as well. But if you have had a chance to pick up this game and play it, let me know down in the comments what you think of it, if it's one that you're going to be playing, and of course if you have completed it as both a good guy or a bad guy. And of course, if you have watched to the very end of this review, a big thank you to you. Don't forget to comment red banana down below. Just confuse all those people new to the channel or that didn't watch to the very end. But until next time, take it easy and happy gaming.